day, everyone. We are Group 5, and we're here to present about gender and sexuality online. Um, First, let's talk about gender. So, gender is a term that refers to social or cultural distinction associated with a given sex. Um, it is generally considered to be a socially constructed concept. So it may it may not have occurred to it may have not occurred to you that sex and gender are not the same. So sociologists and most other social scientists view sex and gender as a conceptually distinct. Sex denotes biological biological characteristics and exists along a spectrum from male to female. Gender, on the other hand, denotes social and cultural characteristics that are assigned to different sexes. Sex and gender are not always synchronous, meaning they 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 do not always line up in easy to categorize way. So a person a person sex as determined by his or her biology does not always correspond with their gender. Therefore, the terms sex and gender are not interchangeable. So identify with a rule that corresponds to the sex assigned to them at birth are cisgender. So gender identity may be the same as the sex you were assigned at birth, or cisgender, or not transgender. Um, some people identify as a man, or a boy, or a woman, and some have a gender identity that that doesn't fit into their one of these genders. So next, let's proceed to sexuality online. So online sexuality was first seeded as a social force in the mid 1980s with the release of the first desktop computers and public computer networks. The earliest empirical studies in the field were published in the mid 1990s with the popularization of the internet. Since then, the volume of academic publication in the internet sexuality has increased significantly with each passing year. So the concept of online sexual activity implies one or more persons engaging in sexually related behavior on the internet. However, it is different from offline sexual activities, which would most likely include a physical component, for example, solitary or partnered physical sexual stimulation. So, umbrella term that refers to all sex-related content and activities observable on the internet. Actually, there are six categories of internet sexuality can be identified. First, sexuality, asexual, sexually explicit material, or erotica and pornography. Second is sex education. Third is se- third is sexual contacts. Fourth is sexual subcultures. Fifth is sex shops. And the last one, number 6, is sex work. So, while online pornography is the most investigated and most controversial form of internet sexuality, online sex education is the most widely sought of type sought out of type of sex-related content. All sex areas of internet sexuality are associated with both opportunities and challenges for the sexual health of different groups of internet users. So research has shown men and women of all ages, and sexual orientations to use the internet for sexual purposes. For example, the internet is used to access pornography, to find sexual related information, to purchase sell sexual merchandise, and last is and to find partners for romance and sex.
Good day. Today I'm gonna talk about sex. Sex is a biological. Sex is our anatomy as female, male, or intersex. It includes our internal and external sex organ, chromosomes, and hormones. So, how do we know if we are a boy or a girl? So, we can find it in our birth certificate nga dito nakabutang nga laki or bayita. So, that is why sex is defined as biological basis of being male or female. So, next, biochemistry. So, hormones. Males have higher testosterone level. So, if you are a boy, so you have a higher testosterone level. So, if you are a boy, taas imong kuang testosterone, so develop ma puberty na ka. So, mulaw imong tingog, matubuan kag bungot, og malahi na pud imong lawas, nanakay muscle strength. So, ug sa female have higher estrogen. So, if you are a girl, so wide imong pelvis og hips, og your breast will grow, dako imong tutoy. And estrogen is part of your menstrual cycle, helps you get pregnant, and plays a role in helping you develop bones and grow hair. It also regulates your moods and impact your brain development and structure. So, next, genetics. So, if you're a female, so you have an XX chromosome, and if you're a male, you have a XY chromosome. So, next, so terminologies of male. So, organism is the physical sex that produce sperm. So, If you are male, so makaproduce ka og egg cell. If you are a female, XX is the sex of an organism or part of an organism that produce non-mobile ova or egg cells. So, understandable if you are a female, so makaproduce ka og egg cell.
Good morning, everyone. I am Charles Gabriel A. Laporta. So, I'm going to discuss about intersex categories and gender categories. So, first of all, what is intersex? So, intersex is a person is born with a combination of female and female biological traits. So that is an intersex. So first example is Turner syndrome or XO. Individuals with Turner syndrome has an XO chromosomes, meaning there is only one sex chromosome. This is a rare disorder because this will occur for every 1 out of 2,500 or 1 out of 1,500 live births. Individuals with this type of disorder is not capable of producing ova or sex hormones because she has only one X chromosome, not like a normal female individual who has two X chromosomes. They are usually short with webbed skin from neck to shoulders in some cases. The disorder can be treated with hormone therapy to trigger menstruation as well as breast and genital menstruation. So that is the Turner syndrome. The next one is Klinefelter syndrome. So individuals with Klinefelter syndrome has XXY chromosomes, meaning he or she has an extra one sex chromosome. This disorder will occur for every 1 out of 500 or 1 out of 1,000 live births. Individuals of this type possesses some female characteristics like partial breast because masculinization is not complete since they have two X chromosomes and one Y chromosome. A normal male individual has one X and one Y chromosome. Thus, they have underdeveloped penis and testes, and they have low testosterone production. The last one about is the example of intersex categories is pseudohermaphroditism. That's how you pronounce it. Pseudohermaphroditism. Pseudohermaphroditism is a condition in which the individual has a single chromosomal and gonadal sex but combines features of both sexes in the external genitalia, causing doubt as to the true sex. For male pseudohermaphrodite, the individuals have XY chromosomes, have testes, but the external genitals are female. But for female pseudohermaphrodite, they have XX chromosomes, ovaries, but male or ambiguous external, ambiguous genitalia. So gender. Gender is a concept that refers to the differences between men's and women's roles and responsibilities that are socially constructed, changeable over time, and have wide variations within and among cultures or self perception. Gender is an anatomy. Anatomy is this new manner of dressing, body movements, and mannerism. Do this. Look at your fingernails and perna- personality traits. So these are examples of gender categories. Therefore, I will conclude that gender is related more on cultural meaning attached to being masculine and feminine, which influence personal identities. For for example, like man, woman, transgender, intersex, gender gender queer, uh, identities that are neither male nor female, identities that are outside the gender binary. Therefore, gender could be based on the anatomy, or bodily structure, manner of dressing, body movements, mannerism, personality traits, occupation, jobs, and attraction and choice of sexual partners.
Good day, I am Air Israel L. Gloria. I am here to tackle about gender socialization. So, gender socialization. We learn to perform gender through the family, school, peers, neighbors, and society. Gender socialization is the process by which we learn our cultures, gender related roles, norms, and expectation, the most common agents of gender socialization. In other words, the people who influence the process are parents, teachers, school, and media. Gender socialization is the process through which children learn about the social expectation, attitudes, and behaviors typically associated with boys and girls. This topic looks at the socialization process and the factors that influence gender development in children. Gender relations. Gender is relational in the sense that male roles are defined with female roles. Gender relations interact with other social division like class, eth- ethnicity, religion, age. Gender role, also known as sex role, is a social role encompassing a range of behaviors attitudes that are generally considered acceptable, appropriate, or sorry or desirable for a person based on that person's sex. And I have here an example about gender relations. Girls and women are generally expected to dress in typically feminine ways and be polite, accommodating, and nurturing, while men are generally expected to be strong, aggressive, and bold. Every society, ethnic group, and culture has gender role expectations, but they can be very different from group to group. Gender role and culture. Gender culture uses gender attributes not only for language but for other domains as well, such as food, space, clothing. Sweets are for females, hard liquor are for men. Malls are gendered spaces. Culture uh, Culture can be defined as a system of knowledge shared by a relatively large group of people. Gender aspects are relevant both in relation to the broad definition of cultures as a social construction to the way in which cultural policy is designed by implement. Ideology. Dominant ideology define what should be and should be not for each of the genders. When first through language, religion, politics. Example, patriarchy or heterosexism. Gender ideologies are defined as views that people hold regarding gender roles. Gender roles accepts continuum traditional gender roles at the end of continuum. The term gender ideology has no academic or theoretical basis, nor a clear current definition. It is used within conservative religious circles to vaguely denote policies and activism aimed at improving gender equality and upholding the rights of women and LGBTQ community.
So for today's topic is theories of gender. By the way, I'm Danalin Alista Langido. Sorry kayo kay Sapa kay silingan mo kay pista mga kuan. So theories of gender. So there's a lot of examples of theories of gender. Examples na kay intersectionality, feminist theory, so gender schema, so theory, and etc. So the first is essentialism. So essentialism is see gender differences as reflection of naturally evolved disposition. So dira nang makita ang differences sa kanang gender. So next, Sigmund Freud offered an early influential essentialist explanation of male and female differences. So guys, si Sigmund Freud muna siya ga-offer sa essentialist, muna siya explanation siya ga-explain sa male o female ba nga kanang differences sila ba sa female o male. So terminologies: masculinity, it is relating to or suited to men and boys. So masculinity is kung siya suited siya sa kanang mga boys kay from the world masculine, so muscular kanang mga dagkog lawas ba, so suited na siya sa mga laki. Having qualities appropriate to or associated men. So Latin word sa masculinus is musculus, which means male. So next is femininity. Femininity, it is relating to or suited to women and girl. So femininity, so kan man siya kanang masculinity sa lalaki na siya nalaguglawas. So lain siya niya sa femininity. Ang femininity kaya suited siya sa woman or girl in the world feminine. So having qualities appropriate to or associated with the woman. So femininity kay kana siya associated siya sa kanang woman. So next is social constructionism. So it views gender as constructed by social and culture. So it views as constructed by social and culture. So the distinction between male and female is a social distinction made by society. That is, it is a social construction. So last is
Social constructionism refers to the socially constructed role, behaviors, activities, and attributes that a given society considers appropriate for men and women. So, essentially, as examples of social constructionism refers sa social constructed roles, behavior, sa kanang activities and attributes na nahatag sa kanang social. Considers siya so
Sexuality encompasses sex, gender identities, and roles sexual. Orientation, eroticism, pleasure, intimacy, and reproduction. Experience and express in thoughts, fantasies, desires, belief, attitudes, values, behaviors, practices, roles, and relationships. Sexuality online. The concept of online sexuality activity implies one or more persons engaging in a sexually related behavior on the internet. However, it is different from offline sexual activities, which would most likely include physical component, for example, solidarity or partnered physical sexual stimulation. My explanation about sexuality online. Sexuality is about who you have sex with or how often you have it. Sexuality is about your sexual feelings, thoughts, attraction, and behaviors towards other people. Gendered sexualities. Dyson Muller's four dimensions of sexuality. First, sexual partnership. Second, sexual acts. Third, sexual meanings. Fourth, sexual drives and enjoyment.
So, sexual partnership. Numbers and kids of partners under this is monogamy and or polygamy and extramarital relationship, sugar daddy, cogar, and partnership timing. So Christmas, Valentine's, sexual devote, premarital sex, and next is um, conditions and rate for change. Under this is trophy, trophy waves, partners, conditions of for choice, tuition, arranged marriage. It is the duty of the wife to give in her husband desire. Sexual activities may be driven by the deep economic needs. Sexual acts. Natures of the sexual acts are this: woman on top or missionary positions. Why are condoms flavored? And non-penetrated forms, pleasure enhancing device, conditions of choice, coercion, rape, domestic violence in the context of love, um, or carino brutal. Next, sexual meanings, masculine, feminine, sexuality. So, virginity of a woman is valued. and virility of potency of a man. Um, Perceptions of the partnership: men should be lead, women should be follow. Elderly couples are asexuals. Meanings of sex act: it is oral sex, already sex, or it is it, or is it um foreplay, non-reproductive, and non-coital. Next, these are the four dimensions of sex or sexuality, or Judith and um, Jack Baldwin. First is anal sex. Um, the biological and physical features that determine whether or one is males or females. And next, sexual identity. The essential sexual self-concept or an individual's. Next is the gender roles, the expectations of the particular cultures for males and females. It is includes such as things as manners of talk, style of dress, expressions, and behavioral expectations. That's the general rule, gender rules. And the last one is the sexual orientation, the directions of one erotic attractions, which can be to the opposite sex, or the heterosexual, the same-sex, or the homosexuals, or the both sexes, or the bisexual. So next, what is we go the deep understandings about sex. So what is sex? So sex came from the Latin word sexus, which state of being males or females. So biology, reproductive characteristics, the set of characteristics that determine whether the reproductive rules of an animals or plants is males and females. So the sum of the structural, functional, and behavioral characteristics of organisms that are involved in productions marked by the unions of gametes and that distinguish males and females. So, sex versus sexual intercourse versus sexual activities. So, sexual intercourse, or the coitus of the copulations, is principally the intentions and trusting of each other's genitalia of each, also known as the penetrative sex, or the vaginal sex, oral sex, and sex. So, sexual activities pertain to overall manifestations of human desires to have activities due to the sexual desires towards their sexual orientations. So, uh, according to as Lisa Polians, as cited by the Hollier 2009, note that sex can be everything from the monetary transactions without emotions, meanings, to the profound experience of love, unions. Sex can be celebratory or can be solace in sadness. Sex can be tender or violently abusive. It can hurt and can deeply wound. So these are the what turns us on. So attractions and sex. Senses, attractions and sex. First is the touch. Touch, it is the dominant sexual sense, primary erogenous zone area of the body that contains dense canti concentrations of nerves ended include the genitals, um, buttocks, anus, nipples, breast, inner thing, armpit, navels, neck, earlobes, and mouth. So secondary erogenous zone areas areas of the body that have became erotically sensitive through learning and experiencing virtual any other regions of the body depend on personal erotic experiences. So visions usually next important sense in arousal. Early research supported in ideas of men are more aroused in visual stimuli that females when asked by a self set reportings women less likely to report being around by the visual erotica when arousal is misuse physiological uh, recording devices. Women and men are equally aroused by viewing porno- pornography. And the next is the smell. So, highly influenced by the person's sexual history and social conditioning, genital secretions used as the per- perfume by some women in Europe. So, U.S. near of sessions marking any natural body odors. Even so, many reported being aroused by the smells of their partners or by the peoples who whom they are attracted. So, pheromones or odors produced by the body that relates to reproductive functions. And the last one is the hearing. So, in hearing, hairy variables. Some people find words, erotics, conversations, mom, etc. to be very arousing. Other prefer more silent sex. Different people receive different cultural messages about whether it is okay to talk or make noise during sex.